Encyclopedia of American History, updated and revised, edited by Richard B. Morris. Original peopling of the Americas. Eight thousand to 50,000 BC Asiatic origins. The first human explorers entered this unpopulated region from northern Asia. Despite differences among scholars over the exact date, it now appears that the bulk of the early migration occurred during the last stages of the Pleistocene glaciation, the last ice age. Physical test based on a half cycle of carbon-14, which is present in all organic matter and disappears at a known rate, indicate that the centers of population around the edges of the Arctic Ocean, then a warm open sea, began shifting south in relatively heavy waves. When 11,000 years ago the Arctic froze over, the Atlantic warmed, and the Ice Age ended. Ewing and Don, 1956. The crossing of the Bering Strait and the southward penetration of the Western Hemisphere introduced a somewhat mixed group from Northern Asia into this region, but the predominating strand was Mongoloid, so they say right here. By 1492, this variable but basically Asiatic stock was dominant from Cape Horn to Point Barrow. The very early human remains found in archaeological deposits in the New World all belong to the modern human variety, Homo sapiens. Although physical anthropologists disagree on nomenclature, no Neanderthal or other pre-Homo sapiens remains have yet been found in the Western Hemisphere. No Neanderthal or other pre-Homo sapien remains have yet been found in the Western Hemisphere. Since none of the tailless apes or anthropoid apes occur here either, it is generally believed that man evolved in the Old World and entered the New World fully developed physically and in the late or epi-Paleolithic stage of culture. The first Americans. The Brazilian finds show that the New World was discovered tens of thousands of years earlier than previously believed, certainly well before the time of the American Indians, the so-called American Indians. Prehistoric skulls were found buried in layers of soil in Brazilian caves. They are the oldest skulls of America. Luzia belongs to a race found historically along the rim of the Indian Ocean, in the islands of South Asia and East Africa, Indian Australia, and Melanesia. That to me is a negroid face. It has all of the features that you would associate with a negroid face. The proportions of the face doesn't say anything about it being a mongoloid. Richard Neve, British forensic scientist. The first reaction was not to believe in it, but as the results repeated so many times, and the result is exactly the same thing. The skulls are very similar to Australian Aborigines and Africans, and no similarity at all with Mongoloids in Asia, nor with the so-called American Indian. The first Americans were Negroid.